This is the tutorial for exercise 18C in your beginning AutoCAD workbook. Okay, exercise 18C says to use your border A file. So I'm going to do save as, and I'm going to save this as exercise 18C. Then it says the object using layer object, so our object layer. Manually place the center marks and center lines, use layer center line, and change the line color to black. So we want our center line layer color to be black. Dimension as shown, use the layer dimension. Okay, so I'm going to go in here first and do that right away, just so we don't forget. Change this to black. Okay, so I'm going to start this. I'm just going to make my rectangle to start. It doesn't say where within the border it has to be, so just make sure I give myself enough room to add dimensions to it. So I'll start here, then go dimension. Length is 5, width is 3.5. Okay, and I'm just going to select that, hold down my control key and use my arrows. I'm just going to center it a little bit more. Okay, something like that. Okay, so now we need two circles. So at 0.7 and at 2.8. So I'm just going to explode my rectangle. I'm going to turn off my line weights here. So I'm going to go offset and I'm going to go up 0.7 and offset I'm going to go up 2.8. Okay, so these are my two centers for my circles. Just change them so that nothing gets confusing. Okay, and then I have to go over 0.7. Offset 0.7. Okay, I'm going to use my little match properties button, select my center line, and click this one. Okay, so now I have the centers for my two circles. The note says that the diameter of the circles is 0.36. So circle, make sure that you have center diameter picked. I'm going to turn on intersection there and 0.36. And again, center point, 0.36. Oh, sorry guys, I hit on my keyboard, I hit the wrong one on that. Circle, center line, 0.36. Oh, you know what's going on. Look, turn on my properties button. So here, my diameter is 0.36. So that guy's right. This one, it took it as the radius. Let's try it again. Diameter, center, 0.36. Okay. Now we need three rectangles. So I'm just going to make one first. I'm going to get rid of this because we don't need those. Okay, so the middle of those rectangles is 1.75 up from the bottom. And I'm just using my offset. You could move your origin if you wanted. You could draw construction lines, all different ways, but this is what I'm doing with them. Then I'm going to go over 1.1 from the left. Okay. So that's going to be the center of my first rectangle. And let's try. Let's try. Will this do it? No. Okay. Alright, it will not. Okay, so our rectangles have to be 1.25 high and 0.75 wide. So I'm just going to do offset 0.375 on both sides. So this one and this one, I'm going to switch them back to object lines. And 1.25, so that is, okay. And I should know this off the top of my head, but it's been a day. So we have 1.25 divided by 2, 0.625. So offset 0.625. Oh, and for anybody that hasn't seen that or used that yet, AutoCAD has a calculator in it, right here under your utilities panel, calculator. I'm going to switch these guys back to my object line, escape, and I'm going to trim out what I don't need anymore. Like I said, there's all different ways to create your rectangle where you want it. I'm just going with this. And that one, trimmed the wrong part, so we'll extend it back out. Okay, and I'll trim that back off on the bottom. Said however you want to get your rectangles in there, you go right ahead. I'm going to do join. So that command, join, J-O-I-N, you can put things together, and now that's all one piece. Okay, so I need 3 of those. You know what I should have done? I should have left my center lines in there. Let me see for a sec. I'm going to leave that center line there for now. Okay. So my first one was at 1.1. My next one is at 2.5. So I'm going to do offset 1.4 to give me the center of my next one. And 1.4. The next one's 3.9. Okay. So then I'm just going to copy from that intersection to this intersection to this intersection. I'm going to get rid of those. Get rid of those. Annotate, center mark. Oh, wrong layer. Make sure you're on your center line layer. Okay, so after you've drawn your big rectangle, your circles, and your 3 small rectangles, put in your center lines and center marks. And the last step is going to be to dimension it. So make sure you're on your dimension layer. Don't use quick dimension like I said before. And we're just going to put on linear dimensions. Actually, I'll place my first one. And then I'm going to use baseline dimensioning. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing on the top. I'm going to place my first dimension. I'm going to use baseline. And I'm just going to the ends of my center marks just to keep it clean. I'm going to have to move these. I'm going to turn off my quick properties button. I don't like working with it turned on. Okay, so I have all these dimensions. I could move them all manually. Let's just try using auto adjust. So that's my base one. Then I want to space these guys. Leave it to auto. There, it'll pull them in. And I'll do the same thing, clean this side up. That's my base one. These are the ones that we want to adjust. Leave it at auto. There we go. Need one more on the bottom. Have to dimension our rectangle. Pull this outside. We're going to double click on our text, move our cursor over, and type TYP. And add our dimension here. They have it inside? No, outside. Good. And again, we'll double click on our text here, move our cursor over, TYP. My T key on my keyboard keeps sticking. I'm just going to move this over a little bit. Okay, and then I have to put my diameter on. So I'm going to double click on it. I'm going to move my cursor to the left 2 times. Okay, let's see, do we have everything? Yeah, and you'll change your title block. And you can change this center mark and center line if you want. I don't go in looking to make sure that that's been changed. And save. Okay, so that's it for exercise 18C. That's the end of the tutorial for exercise 18C.